Throughout the ages, history has been altered by word of mouth and the misrepresentation of those who might not have been present when some of the world's most significant events took place. Channelers Barry and Connie Strohm bring through the spirits of those who actually witnessed or took part in these historical events and lets them tell their stories in their own words. Welcome to Channeling History. And now, here are your hosts, Barry and Connie Strohm.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Channeling History. You should know it by now, but we're the only show where we speak to the souls that made things happen, and all the guests are on the other side of the veil. We're brought to you every week on the Parax Radio Network. I'm Barry Strohm, your host, and I'll be doing the channeling tonight.
And I'm Connie Strohm, your co-host. Tonight we'll be channeling three incredible Greek philosophers, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. These three individuals laid out the foundation for philosophical thinking in the ancient world, and their writings are still being studied today. We will not be taking a break tonight, so we can spend as much time as possible channeling our guests. I will be asking the questions of our spirit guests as always, and Barry will be answering in their words. All of our shows are available on our YouTube channel in Barry's name, or if you'd like to download them, go to Podomatic.com and just search Channeling History. And please tell your friends about us so we can continue to grow our audience.
Okay, we always give a disclaimer because somebody's always going to disagree with us. So, the opinions or statements voiced on our show are the channeled words of the spirits and do not necessarily reflect our opinions, those of the Parax Network, or of our sponsors. Now, when we begin our channeling tonight, as Connie said, she'll ask the questions, and I'll answer the questions in the words of the spirits. But before we channel, as you probably already know, we always say a prayer of protection. So Connie's going to say the prayer, and we'll begin to channel with our three great Greek philosophers, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle.
God, please grant us your wisdom and protection. Grant us the knowledge that we can handle and keep us safe from all things that will harm us. Keep the messages positive and pure love. Keep us safe from our egos. We ask these things in the light of the seen, the unseen, and the honesty of God.
All right, Connie. These are three wonderful guests. They've all been on our show before, but they've never been on together, so let's get started.
Okay, good evening, gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining us. All three of you lived in ancient Greek around the 3rd century BC. You have watched the evolution of man for over 2,500 years. Besides technological changes, do you see any real philosophical changes in humans?
Socrates is going to start. I must admit that it does not appear as much has changed. During my time, we were very basic in our understanding of human nature, of what took place, how people should govern, how they should behave. Keep in mind that we lived 300-400 years before Jesus walked the earth. So there was no such thing as Christianity. We worshipped multiple gods. We had politicians that were extremely greedy. We had individuals that were violent towards others. Slavery was a very, very big deal. Anybody that had any wealth at all would have slaves. Today, as we look at what's going on, we see many, many similarities. It is true that in the more civilized countries, people don't have slaves any longer. But sadly, there are still places in the world where slavery is still being practiced in a fairly big way. We're seeing politicians that are greedy. We're seeing politicians that have no regard for the people. We've seen many cultures come and go in that time. So I fear, in my opinion, not much has changed. Plato. I wanted to see people understand that violence and greed and all the bad things would certainly undermine our government in ancient Greece. They had what we referred to as a democracy in those days, but it really wasn't. The rich or empowered were the ones that were in our governing body. Those people ruled the country. The poor had very little say. The slaves had absolutely no say. Even though people were supposedly elected to our Senate, it was still a place for the elite. As I look around at the government today, especially in the United States, your politicians are all members of the elite class. They're all rich. They all have a lot of political connections. They work with political parties that have connections. It would be very, very difficult for a common person to decide they wanted to become a United States senator. It would be a long process, and I'm not even sure if it'd be possible anymore under your system. So, the elite still rule the world. Not much has changed about that, has it? Socrates. I was a firm believer in law and order. I thought that the laws should be equal for everyone. Today I'm seeing a justice system in the United States especially, where it seems as though the police, the judges, the courts have all got political ambitions. I don't think there's any doubt that in your country there are several levels of justice. Justice is supposed to be equal for everyone. Your politicians appear that they are above the law. How long has it been since you have seen one of your high-ranking politicians be truly arrested and put in jail? It's been a long time. It's not that your politicians are so honest. We watch from over here and we know that they break the laws, that they basically do what they wish. We had the same thing in Greece. Individuals tried to influence our system of justice, and they were successful at it. It appears as though the rich have powers that the poor people or the common person can only dream of.
One of the teachings of Aristotle is that humans become better persons through practice. Have humans become better persons during the past 2,500 years, would you say?
Aristotle. I was naive enough to believe this. I thought that as civilizations grew, they would learn the lessons of history. Sadly, I must admit, the humans seem to not learn the lessons of history. Throughout time, there has been great violence, great wars. There's been times that millions of people have been killed in war. You would think that as humans advanced, as they became more educated, as they became more knowledgeable, that they would look at the lessons of history and that they would decide that such violence really did not serve any long-term purpose. It's very sad, and I do see certain individuals that learn the lessons of history. And I do see people that history has educated. But there are many traits of humans that do not seem to pay any attention to the past. Socrates. Humans do appear to learn from history. It appears as though they've learned in many ways to become more violent, that they learn many ways to take more advantages of people. Throughout time, there have been very, very violent individuals and tribes. The Mongols, the Romans. They killed hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. But as humans have learned greater technologies, they've become much more adept at killing. Look at Hitler, for instance. We don't even know how many people his ideology killed. We know over 6 million members of the Jewish faith were killed by them. Millions of others, perhaps 20, 25 million people died through his acts of evil and violence. So, practice, I guess, does make perfect when it comes to violence and evil. Plato. We believed over here that the introduction of Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, many of the religions throughout the world would help bring peace. We thought that the introduction of the concept of worshiping a God, of following the preachings of a peaceful God, would help bring the end of violence. Now we have members of different faiths waging war on other religions. In the Islam faith, there is great difference even between different segments of their own religion. Humans have not learned that the concept of worshiping a God and the concept of an organization of religions, that was supposed to bring peace on earth and to help humans get along. As we watch from over here, we question just if humans are indeed capable of learning to coexist and get along. It has now been thousands and thousands of years of human evolution, and we see that humans have failed to learn the lessons of love and coexistence. It is our hope that in the future they will look back at their histories and understand that the violent past is certainly not the key to a peaceful future.
Socrates, you were a strong believer in ethics and following the law. Would each of you please comment on the ethics of our current politicians?
Okay, Socrates. I truly felt that laws were to be followed. I might have even followed them to the extreme by obeying the laws even though they were wrong and committing suicide by drinking the poison. Today, I wonder how many of your politicians would follow my example in the extreme of following the laws. As we watch from over here, we see that many of your politicians have basically no regard for the law. We would hope that there would be a time in the future that the justice system of the United States would be organized so as to offer complete neutrality in how the laws are obeyed and how justice is carried out. We see that justice is different for different types of people. We see that justice can be more strict for the uneducated. We just see many problems with the justice system of today. We had hoped that as people became better educated and had a better understanding of the laws, that they would be followed. Today we see that the existence of peacemakers is even more important as your population centers grow. So, once again, we do not see that humans have truly advanced much in that area. Aristotle. Laws are not made simply to be broken. Laws are made to be followed. Now, that statement makes the assumption that the people that make the laws are capable of making laws that deserve to be followed and are fair. Each political party that you have today tries to pass laws that favor that party. That is not justice. Laws truly should be passed that serve the people. Laws are not intended to serve any master. Today you see countries such as Russia where the laws simply serve a tyrant. Millions of people in Russia have been misled and have been lied to and believe that the laws are to serve the people. Nothing has changed much through time. There has always been examples of tyrants that have made laws that are self-serving. Until laws are made to serve the people, human evolution is going to have problems advancing. Plato. As time has moved on, the laws of God have become known. If you look at all the religions, you will basically see that the foundations are similar. The laws of God are love, coexistence, living a good life. When you see laws that differ from those basic concepts, it should be apparent that the laws are not going to succeed in leading human evolution forward. Many things should be left to the individual. But governments do need to intercede with a strong judicial system. But when that judicial system is not fair or equitable, then that judicial system will not aid human growth into the future. Keep your laws simple. Keep your laws in line with the teachings of God, and you would find things would improve greatly.
Okay, Plato, you discussed several aspects of the theory of knowledge. Would you each comment on if you believe humans have truly become more knowledgeable in the last 2,500 years?
Plato. There is a huge difference between knowledge and wisdom. Much knowledge is available. You currently have your social media. You have newspapers. You have ways of immediately accessing information. What you need to understand is that much of what you consider knowledge is false. Some knowledge is truth, and some that you refer to as knowledge is false. A truly intelligent person understands that the more they learn, the more they should understand how much more there is to be learned. Knowledge should help others. Knowledge should be truth. Wisdom helps you determine the difference between truth and fiction. Humans have advanced in their knowledge, but in many ways they have not advanced in their wisdom. Socrates. Human knowledge should help lead to equality. Knowledge should lead to justice. Wisdom should lead people to knowledge that will lead them to advance in their evolutions. Today you're seeing an age where humans have more knowledge than they ever have in history. God has seen fit to give them technologies that lead them to knowledge. You're seeing the universe in ways that you have never been able to see it before, because God has given you the knowledge to see that. The question that you must ask is, has God given you the ability to have the wisdom to understand what you are looking at? You see, humans can be very slow learners. In spite of all the knowledge and that God has allowed you to currently have, there are many that still use that knowledge to proclaim that there is no God. Use my example of being able to look into the universe. How can you look at such a miracle and believe there is no God? How can you believe that something could be created like that without there being a God? So you see, humans will truly evolve when they learn to know the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Aristotle. What my friends have just said is very accurate. In my time, there was very little knowledge. We were still trying to learn all the basics. Things like gravity, the sun, the moon, our planet itself. We were all striving to learn these things. We tried to pursue what you refer to as philosophical education. We tried to understand how humans functioned, how they thought, what would be the best type of government for them. We were like children learning to walk. Today, you are comparable to children that have just learned to stand and to walk. There is so much more for you to learn that you have no comprehension. You are using the knowledge that you have to create situations capable of destroying human life. Wisdom would guide you towards using the information that you have to establishing a system that would preserve human life far into the future. So you see, humans have not really gained wisdom. Today there are humans killing humans for no reason. Wisdom would tell you to stop. Greed is based on a knowledge that people use for self-advancement. Sadly, in the 2,500 years since we walked the earth, we fear that humans have gained very little wisdom.
Okay, according to you, Socrates, a state made up of different kinds of souls will overall decline from an aristocracy, which is ruled by the best, to a democracy ruled by the honorable, then to an oligarchy ruled by a few, and then to a democracy ruled by the people, and finally to tyranny, ruled by one person, ruled by a tyrant. Will each of you please discuss where you see the United States in this process at this point?
Socrates. Well, it is certainly obvious that you're not ruled by the best. Many people are simply, in your government, are simply ruled by wanting power and wealth. It's equally apparent that you're not ruled by the honorable. You have people that come into government that are middle class, poor people. Not poor, but not rich. By the time they leave government, they are multimillionaires. And they have not made that much money during their earnings from wages. You're certainly not a democracy because the people are even though they think they vote for politicians. They're being misled. You have individuals now that are trying to become tyrants in your government. You see, things have changed so much in 2,500 years that what I thought applied in those days, today you've got examples of all those. I would think that you could best be described as possibly a tyrannical democracy. You have people that are elected by the people, that are voted in by the people, who then feel they can do what they want. So I think that's how I would describe the United States today. Aristotle. If you are aware of what is truly taking place today, you will find that the votes of the people are slowly being undermined. There are many people voting that are not residents, do not understand the government, how it's supposed to work. There are many votes that are being bought. Now, that is not a unique concept. That happened in my time. We used to buy votes all the time. And then we would say we had a democracy. Well, we didn't. We had an aristocracy. An aristocracy buys the votes of the poor so that they can govern. In many ways, you have an aristocracy today, except for the fact that you're not being ruled by the best. Your government has become so divisive that many people refuse to run for political office. The evil have no problem. They will love to run for your political offices because it gives them a foundation from which to operate. Many people today will not take the ridicule that comes with running for political office. If the United States is truly going to prosper into the future, you have to develop a system where individuals cooperate, discuss things, and truly want to do what is best. The average person is not defended by the current political system. Individuals can do basically what they want after they are elected. There is no real oversight. It is so difficult today for the average individual to make their thoughts heard that they are totally ineffective. If individuals understand that the only way they will be protected is to actively pursue their political system and put people into positions of power that will protect them, not take advantage of them, then that is when the United States will truly have a government by and for the people. Plato. I watched the failures of Greek democracy. I tried to speak of equality and protection. My words were often ignored. It seems like the ability for people to understand my words only took place hundreds of years after I lived. Today, politicians truly ignore the people. They feel that they know best. There are an immense amount of talented people that could run for political office, but refuse to do so because of the pressures that evil politicians will bring upon them. Today you see individuals such as the leader of Russia that have ruined a country through their graft and corruption. They have lied to the people. The people do not understand what is taking place. They have been lied to so long they cannot recognize the truth. What will happen in the United States when a few people control the social media, the newspapers, the news? It is only through honest news, honest reporting, honest delivery of the facts that people can make sound decisions. Nazi Germany. Look what happened to the people there when they accepted the lies of government. When individuals accept the lies of government, it is truly the beginning of the end. It is very difficult to describe what type of government the United States truly has today. The government has grown so out of control, so large. There is no thought of physical responsibilities. There is no thought of what decisions they make today will do to the future generations. Until politicians make decisions for the future and not for the present, then the evolution of any government is very much in doubt.
Is modern philosophy dead?
Socrates. Sadly, I fear that it is in its death throes. We wanted to discuss what you refer to as philosophical matters in order to help the people. We thought that if we discussed government, what would be best for the people, we thought that that would lead to progress. Tell me today where you hear any major discussions of what is philosophically the best for the advancement of individuals. Today you see people amassing great wealth. Some do wonderful things with that wealth. Some simply hoard it and believe that they can take it with them when they die. Today, I would love to see a philosophical discussion of how all of the wealthy people of the world would join together and create charities that would help the poor. Plato. Modern philosophy is in trouble. We are not seeing individuals coming forward and bringing great ideas on how to help others. how to change governments, how to bring prosperity, how to make everyone live a happy life. Many people have tried. They've come up with socialism, communism, so-called democracies. But none of these truly have the answer. You have seen many people now take advantage of tax codes that are supposed to bring equality. There are many great corporations that pay no taxes. Modern philosophical thought does not seem to run towards helping other individuals. Your colleges today, many of them just simply try to train individuals to make as much as they can to not help others. There are people out there, people that try to spread the words of God and try to truly make other people happy. But I would have to say that philosophically, it's a vast wasteland. Aristotle. I hate to see the pessimism of my friends. But as we watch from this side, we see very little example of individuals trying to exert positive philosophies upon others. We see many people trying to exert influence and power over others. Even some of the great charitable institutions today have lost their way. We see individuals making huge salaries and bonuses in these organizations. We see churches that have accumulated incredible wealth. That wealth could be used to help others. When religious institutions use their philosophical teachings not to help others, but to accumulate wealth, then I fear there is no other decision or conclusion to make than that modern philosophy is not doing what it should be doing to help others.
Okay. What do each of you see as the future of humans?
Socrates. I see a very difficult road ahead for humans. I see a widening in the learning of knowledge and the acquiring of wisdom. Many people think just because they know facts, that they consider facts, that they have the wisdom that goes with it. Humans have to accept a very simple knowledge that coexistence, showing love and helping others, is the only way to successful evolution. As long as humans are so inclined towards violence or towards warlike actions, then sadly, the future of humans will be very dim. Throughout time, there have been thousands upon thousands of cultures that have failed because they could not convert knowledge to wisdom. Aristotle. I wish that we would not be sounding so pessimistic tonight. But you see, we have been close observers of the evolution of humans for thousands of years. While humans have advanced in their knowledge, in their technical abilities, they have failed to advance in the wisdom that will lead them into the future. Today, many humans are just simply enveloped in self-fulfillment. They live in the moment and they do not understand that their actions have great influence on future generations. It is not possible for humans to continue as they are. They absolutely must change, or their violent tendencies will probably end human life as you know it. Plato. I truly wish that humans could see what we see. Now, life is not like that. You are not supposed to know what we know. When we're on the other side, we have access to many, many things that you are not intended to have as you are humans. You see, it is not written anywhere that humans must exist into the future. We have watched many civilizations fail. Throughout human history, no great culture has existed for more than multiple hundreds of years. Since man walked the earth, they have wanted what others have. They have been able and successful in creating violent acts to gain those possessions. The secret to successful evolution, you've heard many times. Simply stop showing anger. Stop killing others for no reason. Lead a good life. The key to this is to teach the younger generations those lessons. When the younger generations learn those lessons, they will pass those lessons on to their children. And those children will pass it on to their future generations. Today, the adults are setting terrible examples for the younger generations. Until that changes, human evolution is indeed in trouble. Aristotle. I will just come out and say it. The future for humans is in doubt. It is in doubt because of their own actions. It is in doubt because they have failed to learn the lessons of history. You see, the first thing tyrants do is change history. They teach not history, but what they pretend to be history, and that Those are words that simply teach the lessons they want taught. Educators have got to teach in a manner that will prepare the younger generations. The key is the younger generations. Senior generations can teach lessons. They can be good, they can be bad. And currently, many of the lessons are terrible. The future of humans is definitely at risk.
Okay, as you have each said, every ancient society has failed. Will each of you comment on what contributed to the failure and the type of society that would not fail in the future?
Aristotle. The Greeks failed because they could not defend themselves. They thought that their armies were sufficient. They failed because their system of government did not work. The Romans tried a republic. There were too many differences of opinions among the republics. They tried tyrants. They tried all types of rulers. But they never had sufficient rulers who cared about the people. Ancient civilizations, many of them fail because individuals seek power. Individuals seek wealth. They seek slaves. They want others to do the work. For governments to succeed, they simply have to follow the will of the people and do what's best for them. The people have got to elect individuals that serve the people. As soon as they start serving themselves, governments fail. Plato. For a government to succeed, it has to be a combination of cooperation, of goodwill towards the people, of showing wisdom in their laws and their governing. Today, there is no government that fits that example. That will not take place until the people that elect representatives truly understand that they must control the representatives that they elect. Socrates. Today, there is no form of government that I feel can succeed into the future. That is because governmental service equates to individual power and greed. Communism will never work. Socialism will never work because people just simply will not stay gainfully employed. Democracy would have a chance to work, but it requires an educated electorate where everybody understands what is best for the future of the country. It requires, for a government to succeed, it requires an educated electorate. It requires politicians that obey the laws, that are limited in how long they can serve, and that are forced to obey the rules and are forced to create a judicial system that is truly equal for all.
You all are very, very wise and We need more souls like you in human bodies right now to save our civilization. Would each of you like to give a final short message?
Yes, Socrates. Elect people that truly believe in God. No one religion, but all religions. Elect people that truly understand that they have to do what is best for the people. Aristotle. Thank you for allowing us to speak tonight. Humans have simply got to do what they need to do to bring equality in government. You cannot have elitists running governments. You have to have people that understand what is best for all the individuals. Educate yourself. Elect people that will do what is best. Plato. Thank you for allowing me to speak as well. Throughout time, no civilization has ever existed for long periods of time. Remember that. Your government in the United States has been around now for only about 250 years. But you are making decisions that will assure that future generations cannot succeed and will pay terrible penalties. Do what is right. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I know you've heard that before. You hear it often. So thank you for allowing us to come through tonight and just simply do what is right.
Thank you all so much for sharing your wisdom and your common sense with us.
Okay. Next week, we're going to interview Tsar Nicholas and Leo Tolstoy, the great Russians. We're going to investigate what's going on, why Russia's what it is, and find out what happened to the Tsar's family. So that'll be very interesting. You can submit questions and suggestions for future guests through our emails, channelinghistory on parax@gmail.com. My 8th book, Messages of God for a Modern World, is now available on Amazon, softcover, and ebook. It consists of about 60 channeled messages from our Wednesday podcast, A Weekly Message from Jesus. It's a great daily devotional. Please tell your friends about it. I think you would enjoy it. It's also available on Kindle. Signed copies are only available on my website, barrystrohm.com. All of our shows are available on our YouTube channel. It's in my name, Barry Strohm. If you want to download them, go to podomatic.com, search Channeling History. We truly hope all of you enjoyed our show tonight. I know I did. It's hard work speaking to 3 different spirits and trying to keep everything straight. But man, they had some great stuff. Tell your friends about it. If you follow their words, I mean, they were the greatest philosophers that ever lived. Listen to what they say. Go back and re-listen to the show. I think there's a lot to learn. So anyway, we hope you enjoyed our show tonight. Thank you for listening. Please join us Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on the Parax Radio Network.
And I would also like to thank you all for joining us. I hope you all have a wonderful week. God bless every one of you.
Thanks for listening to Channeling History. Tune in again next week for another electrifying episode, as we never know who will make an appearance or who will come through the portal. Any rebroadcast or other use of this program without explicit permission is strictly prohibited. Copyright 2020. Our Story Begins by Kevin MacLeod, licensed through Incompetech.com.